Hey everybody, it's Ron. I wanted to make this video to my follow-up video from last evening about why I switched back from Sony back to Nikon. And I had one subscriber leave a comment, and he made a point that I didn't really point out in my video what I didn't like about the Sony. So I'm going to break that down just a little bit for you. In the Sony, as you know, I had the Sony a6700. I had changed over from the Nikon D500 to that back in August. I shot with that camera for about 2 months, and the problems I listed in the previous video, which I will link to right up here, was after extensive using it, trying to make it work for my wildlife photography. So first point I want to make is on the Sony a6700, the ISO performance did not seem to be as good as the Nikons. I could typically shoot at ISO 4000 on a Nikon D500, and you can recover that real nicely. When I tried to do that with a slower shutter speed on the 200 to 600 Sony lens, it was really noisy. I really had a lot of trouble recovering the noise out of those photographs, and that was one of the reasons I was frustrated. Another one is the Sony 200 to 600 FE lens. It was sharp, and what some people would call acceptably sharp. It means it's acceptable, but to me, it just missed the sharpness at the very end. It just wasn't really sharp. You know, with the 500 PF lens, that's a whole different animal. You're talking about a $3,500 professional style Nikon lens versus a $1,800–$1,900 prosumer type lens, the 200 to 600. And I know it's a good value and everything, but you know, I was used to the 500 PF producing sharp results, and the 200 to 600 I just wasn't feeling it with that lens. And you know, one thing I want to mention about this critical sharpness, for some people that might be okay, reaching an acceptable sharpness on an image and posting it on social media. But for myself, I like to print my images and I like to sell my images, so I want the sharpest photo I can get. And I feel like that the Nikon D500 does a much better job with the 500 PF lens at giving me sharp results. Now, one thing I do want to note on the Sony a6700, I believe if you were looking for a camera that you wanted to do travel photography with or landscape photography with, and it had great video capabilities, then the Sony a6700 is probably a pretty good camera for most people. With the kit lens, the 18-135, I got great results with that, okay? But I did not buy that rig. I did not get rid of my D500 to use it as a landscape-only rig. I had my Nikon Z6 IIs to do that, but I did do some videos for the 18-135 lens. I'll put a link to those right up here if you want to go watch that Sony video. And I did some street photography with it, and it was a sharp lens. It did a real good job with that. Now, mind you, that was in a low ISO situation with good light. The Sony 200 to 600, when you're out doing wildlife photography, a lot of times you don't have real good light, and you have to lower your shutter speed or raise your ISO to capture the bird photographs. Anyways, I just wanted to clear that up tonight from my previous video last night. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments on this video, and I'll try to answer those. Like I said, I don't have the Sony anymore, so it's going to be hard for me to look at the camera and make any recommendations about anything that I see. But I just wanted to kind of clear up and stuff and make sure everybody understood what I was talking about. Anyways, my name is Ron Durant. I'm a photographer in East Tennessee. Thank you for coming back tonight and listening to my video. Bye-bye now.